Hey there, I'm Seeger Bear from Christian Life Fellowship, and today I will be giving a message on choosing to be sustained by what fulfills us. Every day when I get home from work, or a few months ago when I would get home from school, I would get home, let the dogs out, eat something, and then sit in front of my phone and watch YouTube or watch something on TV. Because, you know, after you spend the day at work, you need to relax, right? And we have all sorts of these entertainment needs, right? Like some people need Facebook to fall asleep, and so they lay there and scroll through it until they can't keep their eyes open any longer. Or we need to find time to work Instagram into our daily schedule, so we wake up and scroll through that real quick. There's other entertainment needs we have that aren't as obviously media. For example, we probably all know that person who's all about coffee, who's like, oh, you don't want to feed me before I've had my coffee. And I'm like, Karen, you'd have a headache, we can handle ourselves, thank you very much. But we have all these needs that are not actually necessary at all. And where do they come from? Well, I think the answer to that question is we've started to let society, our influences, and by and large, our fleshly desires that we have within ourselves shape our sustenance. We've decided to let other people shape what sustains us. And what I mean by that is instead of choosing to focus on our real needs, which is God and time with Him and a relationship, we've let other people tell us what our needs are. We listen to the ads that say, you need this product to be a manly man. And we listen to our friends who say, you have to watch this show. But this show is a spin-off, so you got to watch its father show. And this show, you really only need to watch the first 7 seasons. And that's a backstory to this movie, so you're going to want to watch that. We listen to those people, but by growing the need for all of this filler nonsense, we've settled. Instead of thriving by living off of what God has in store for us, the time with Him, the relationship with Him, that will lead to power and strength and growth. We've settled for barely surviving, scraping by with what our friends, what our self-image just slops in front of us and lets us consume over and over, needing more and more because it will never ever fulfill us. I really want to look today to Daniel, the first chapter. It has a story that I really think this generation needs to hear. Let me give you some context for it. So King Nebuchadnezzar comes into Judah. He goes on a raid to get some things from the temple. In addition, he gets some captives. 4 of them, which are part of this story, are Daniel and his 3 friends, Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael, which you might better know as Rashach, Abednego, and Meshach. See, the reason that we know them by different names is because the king changed them when they were entered into his army training, right? Now, here's the thing about names, is they are very important, but a name only matters as much as the person calling you that name. It only matters as much as how much you value the person calling you that, but when you let other people choose how to sustain you, when you let other people tell you that you don't need this, you need something else, you starve, and you wither, and you die. So that's what the king was trying to do, is he said, I want all my young men in the military to spend their first 3 years of training eating only meat and wine from my cellar, but that was against God's law. Daniel and his friends were called to something better, called to something different by God. So Daniel goes up to the man and he says, give us 10 days. 10 days to show you a visible difference in our lives, just by living the way that God called us to, by being sustained by time with Him, what God has set out for us, not what the world lets us scrape by on. The man agreed, and so that after 10 days, let me read you verse 15, Daniel and his 3 friends looked healthier and better nourished than the young men who had been eating the food assigned by the king. So after that, the attendant only fed them vegetables instead of the food and wine provided to the others. That's what's amazing. After 10 days, there is a visible difference between you and other people who are letting anybody who wants to decide what sustains them or what fulfills them in their life. God is enough. God will sustain you. God will fulfill your needs. He will fulfill your hunger. And if you let other people tell you otherwise, and you try and eat by them, you need more and more to constantly fill up. While the world offers us replacement entertainment, God offers us sustaining, life-fulfilling power. And that's why it's so valuable to just take 10 days. Take 10 days, and hopefully more, to test and notice a visible difference, because when God is part of your life, it matters, and it changes you, and it causes something deep inside, because a need is being fulfilled. A desire for sustenance is being filled in a way that never was before. And ultimately, if God sent his Son down from heaven to die for us on the cross, I think the least we can do is choose not to replace him in our lives. Thank you.